Hey guys, it's Kelly, it's KJ here. I wanted to actually talk about student readiness and how we can get more students engaged in physical activity, academic activity, and all the other things that make them a more well-rounded person. So I wanted to speak with people from different backgrounds to find out a little bit more about how we can make this successful, make the effort to increase student readiness, student engagement. So I'm here today with the one and only Marcus Boyd. He is an award-winning 13 awards,
13 music awards. Yes,
13,
ma'am.
13 music awards, 13 music awards as a composer, as a producer. He does 18 genres. He's got a whole lot of beats, and he's got a movie. He's got a whole lot of different things, and he's also got a story to share about engagement and how to get things going. So, Marcus, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for allowing me to be on your amazing platform.
Oh, look at that. Amazing. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to ask you, the last time we talked, you mentioned that you did exercise at one time, that you were the water boy on the football team, that you did go to the gym, etc. And I wanted to just kind of go through some of those scenarios to give people an idea of maybe some of the apprehensions that you faced as also, I'm sorry, Marcus is an autism advocate, and he is a person who has been diagnosed with autism. And so that's why his story of success is so powerful and important. But I wanted to understand a little bit more of the fears, the apprehensions that went into it, and how you kind of got over that hump and started to exercise. So
Okay.
tell me a little bit about the water boy experience. How did you get to that? Who helped you, or what helped you, or what were the fears?
I had a coach at Gresham Park Recreational Center. His name was Coach Carter. So Coach Carter used to give me and my foster brothers, you know, opportunities to play on the football team. So, I knew I was husky and I couldn't run the 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 laps that he told me to run, or the exercises, the duck squats and everything that he tried to have me to do. So since it was 120, 140 pound football team, they was just like, look, you can be the water boy. You make sure everybody gets some yellow Gatorade or some blue Gatorade or some water. And, you can be a part of the team. At that time, I was nonverbal. I wasn't really talking like that. And I had trouble following directions, sitting still. And I had trouble, really grasping into the task that I was given at hand. So I was afraid. I was fearful at the time because there was a new thing. I was around new people, and I really didn't grasp the people like that at that point. But Coach Carter he used to go out of his way to make me feel welcome. So when the guys had pizza, even though I wasn't a part of their football team, but they gave me pizza too. So, when they started doing exercises, it was like I get to blow the whistle. That's how it started for me. Coach Carter let me blow the whistle. So when the guys was doing squats, push-ups, sit-ups, running in place, or whatever, he let me blow the whistle for them to start and stop. So then it went to Brandon, Jason, and some other guys they showed me, they got me in push-up form. They got me in sit-up form. So they started helping me sit up, helping me push up. So, every time I did it right, they'll give me a high five, they'll give me encouraging words like, you can do it. Come on, continue. We believe in you, stuff like that. Even though I was halfway out of breath when I was going up halfway. But, they still made me believe that I could continue to push. They didn't look at me just because I had autism, like I don't want to hang with him. Then it went from being on the field to being at lunch. And that was the difference for me, because they was actually picking me up from my table and letting me sit at the popular table. They didn't care because I was part of the team. So they started letting me sit with them. And they didn't care if people may say something or whatever, but if people did say something, they'll quickly to want to touch them because they felt like they was disrespecting a person that was a part of the team.
Love it.
So
Love
long
it.
story short, at the end of the year, the banquet, when they got a trophy, I got a big old one. I got a big old trophy. I got a Leatherman's jacket and stuff of that nature because I was a part of the team that was due to Coach Carter.
And it was due to Coach Carter's first encouragement in setting the model for what the team for what the team members should do, and then it was the team members doing it. So the socialization part was huge. Do you think you would have done all this if you did not have, the team members teaching you? Do you think you would have taken the initiative to learn how to do this or felt comfortable doing all this?
No, because I was there with my foster brothers. So again, I was just there to support them. No, I wasn't doing nothing. It was just been somebody sitting on the bench, and that's it. But Coach Carter was like, "Why is he just sitting on the bench? Oh, that's my brother." Well, don't he want to be a part of the team? He probably don't. Well, let's see. Let's get him involved.
Let's try.
Whether
Let's
I
try.
wanted to or not. Coach Carter said, "Ain't nobody sitting on no benches. Everybody gonna be a part of the team."
Wow. So weren't you in the band at one time? Did was that physically exhausting, or was that before or after football?
No, that was before football and after football.
Okay.
So I mean, I got in the band when I was in third grade. So I was in concert band. Then we graduated to marching band, high school, stuff like that, middle school, stuff like that. So, you go from carrying a little trumpet in a case or something like that to carrying a big old trombone, having your legs go up and down to 12 to 13 blocks. You having a whole suit on. So you experiencing the drumline moment on an everyday basis.
And how was that for you? Were you prepared for that?
No, physically, no. No, I didn't, I had a chance to have a scholarship to play band in college and stuff like that. But that I knew I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to spend the next 4 years having my legs up, turning and twisting and flipping with an instrument in my hand. That just wasn't life for me. I think when we got to do the Thanksgiving parade in New York City and we had to march 13 blocks with probably like 100 pounds of equipment, plus the instrument, plus we have our legs going up and down 13 blocks. That was done for me. Yeah, I'm picking a different major. No
Wow.
more band.
Did they do anything in between? Like, was there a cross training that you got to do to exercise to prepare for that?
Yeah, we
Or
had to rehearse. We definitely had to rehearse on our weekends, Friday evening, Saturday, Sundays. We definitely had to rehearse with a choreographer. Water. We have to make sure that our breathing exercises was up to par. Our leg exercise and our stretching was up to par, especially when you put on that type of armor.
wow. So when all this was over, you were telling me about at one particular time you wound up going to the gym. How did you re-engage in that type of physical activity? Because once again, we're trying to figure out how to get students ready. Let me just give you a couple of stats as to why this is so powerful. In 2019, there was a study done by the UN Health Agency, and they found that 80% of teens exercise less than 1 hour a day. 80% of teens. Um, Another study that I read a while ago in the Washington Post, 70% of student athletes drop out of organized sports at age 13 because they don't think they can make it to the pros or they don't think they're going to be great at it. So they stop. I taught gym as a teacher, and I would teach gym, and there would be like 20 kids, 30 kids playing basketball and 100 kids standing around the court not engaged at all. The reason why this is so essential is because the Mayo Clinic actually did a clinical study, and the more if you do exercise 5 to 6 times per week for 1 hour, it will actually reduce the cognitive decline by 32%. So when we're talking about problem solving, learning how to do things, layer things like things that are multiple steps, that's cognition or problem solving. So if you can do a 1-step direction or 2-step direction or 5-step direction, so the more step directions you can do, the more cognitive prowess they say that you have. The last thing that I wanted to mention, which is kind of why we're talking about this from the autistic realm, is that one third of autistic children, according to the CDC, and I'm talking high school kids, 1/3 of autistic children are severely overweight, is severely obese versus 13% of the general population. So kids who are typically neurotypical children, 13% of that population is severely obese, but when you're talking about the autistic population, it's 3 times that, almost 3 times that. So we know that there's an opportunity with regards to exercise and engagement. There's an opportunity with regards to weight, managing weight control, because we know that that can lead to diabetes and other kinds of things and muscle atrophy and et cetera. But also there's the opportunity with regards to cognition and helping them, equipping them with the skill sets to have more job opportunities and more social opportunities and just, you know what I mean? More opportunities to engage with folks because you learn, as you did with football, how to do the multiple steps that it takes to complete a sit-up, the multiple steps that it takes to do a push-up, you know, the multiple steps that it takes to do things in general. So going back to it, you gave me a story, which was kind of the center of why we're talking now. You said that there was a time period where you were, I guess, feeling flustered and you found exercise.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend actually introduced me to exercising. Yeah, I mean, I'm still am a video game head. So, I mean, if I can just pick up a controller, put some headphones on with some music, I'm in heaven. But she told me that, working the treadmill, lifting hand weights, or moving my feet by lifting leg weights, or doing, acrobatic aerobics, or even beginners yoga, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Be able to channel my inside while working on my outside. You understand what I'm saying? So at first I thought she was crazy. But and then too, because I have autism, my attention span and my willingness is not like everybody else's.
Mhm.
And me listening to directions, sometimes I feel like somebody's attacking me versus them speaking to me. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So she had to get a routine going because, again, with my autism, I live off routine. So she had to really get a basic, really patient, understanding type of routine going. Like, okay, Marcus, we can go 10 minutes today or 15 minutes today. Just walk the treadmill and talk to me. Or, okay, Marcus, the next week, we can go 10 minutes to 20 minutes on the hand lifts with the weights. And you can listen to some music, or we can go for, a little snack or something afterwards because you was able to do this for 10 to 20 minutes.
So what you're saying is there was a dual component because I'm
Right.
assuming, I shouldn't assume, I hope I'm assuming right? One would think that you're probably an audio learner since you've got the music composition and the music production. So what you're saying is, in the midst of doing something such as physical exercise, which was good for you, which was beneficial for you, um, she also added in a personal benefit of the audio component. So what you're saying is you
Right.
got on the treadmill and she was talking to you. You did the other exercise and you got to listen to the music. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's always that audio stimuli or affirmation or comfort along with you doing the exercise to make it more appealing, pleasing,
Yes,
interesting,
ma'am.
engaging. Yeah. So with that in mind, how important would you say exercise is in
I
general?
say it's extremely important. I say exercise is extremely important, not just to the autism world, but to everybody. It gives you calmness, it gives you patience, it makes you feel like you're completing a task, or you perform it at your best, and you get to do it at your speed. Nobody's pushing you, nobody is saying what you can and cannot do. You're showing your gift and your talent. And I definitely think in the autism world that everybody should try exercising. And again, that's why programs and companies like Beyond My Expectations are so important, because they're not just having autism kids on the left and normal individuals on the right. They're including. They are bringing together autism and normal kids in the same and meeting them in the middle and allowing them not only to exercise, but to network and experience what each other worlds can be like when you bring them together.
Excellent, excellent. If you were to say, if you were to say one thing about your experience with exercise, like you getting to exercise and where you are today with where you are today with regards to exercise, what would you say? So do you exercise now?
I do some routines and stuff like that. I mean, I'm getting back into it. I mean, I'm not like a super exercise fanatic, but I'm getting back into it. I mean, I love the routines that it offers, especially the dancing and the choreographed routines. So
Would you say, I guess I was asking it the wrong way. So would you say that when you were in school and you had that camaraderie or you had that social environment, it was easier to exercise versus now that you're out of school and you don't have, that immediate social group to exercise with you?
I think group exercising and team building is so important, and it's much harder when you by yourself. So yes, I wish I was back in school exercising versus me being by myself doing it on a routine basis.
Right. And according to what you're saying, I want to make sure what you're saying was one of the important things was the stages. So the initial stage for you was the one-on-one with the coach. Then the stage after that, or one-on-one with your girlfriend, then the stage after that was kind of like you doing it with other peers, having that confidence and that self-efficacy and them growing, like that peer mentoring. And then after the peer mentoring, there was kind of an autonomy where you could do it on your own if you chose, that you could do more of the exercise and the routines and et cetera on your own. So it was kind of like phases, and people, autistic or not,
Yes.
may need to look at this with regards to phases and making sure that they're in the right phase so they don't face, I won't say failure, but they don't reach their ultimate goal, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's
So like,
exactly what I mean. Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
So like in the beginning, if they just said to you, go for it, right? Without the coach's support, it may be more of a what? If you didn't have the coach's support and they told you just to get out there and do it,
It may have been a foreign language to me. So, with the coach's support, it just gave me that extra push and that extra brace that I needed to be able to want to try something different, to want to come out my box. So,
yeah. Well, Marcus, I just want to say that one of the things that I found when I spoke to several of my students when I was teaching is that that fear of failure is real. So it's not so much that it's not so much that kids can't do it. It's just they don't want to fail in front of their friends. And they feel, if they feel like they're going to fail, they're not touching it. You know what I mean? Because they don't want that embarrassment to happen later on.
you're so right. And, I was like that too. I had a failure. But with Jason, Brandon, and some of the other guys that was on the football team, it just made me feel like, okay, they talking to me and want to hang with me outside of football, outside the recreational center. They actually showing up at my house. I'm going to their house. So, I mean, it became more than a brotherhood than just a team.
Wow. Go Marcus, go Marcus, go Marcus, go Marcus. Well, Marcus, like I said, I really wanted to just cover student readiness and the importance of, physical exercise because it does impact the overall ability to learn. Do you know what I mean? When you have those stressors and then anxiety, I can tell you whatever, but if you're not hearing it, if you're not understanding it, then it's like me just talking to a wall because you can't obtain the information, you can't retain it, keep it with you, and then you can't apply it elsewhere. So we know that exercise helps to relieve some of that stress, some of those, those thoughts that might be preoccupied in your head, so you can then obtain, retain, and apply the information that's taught in school. So it is a part of exercise, part of student readiness. And once again, like I said, this video, I thank you so much for just sharing your thoughts because hopefully this will be insightful to say, hey, look, you know what, people can do it if we find the right supports, if we find the right
Amen.
environment, if we find the right coach, if we find the right peers. You know what I mean? It's like they're all like pieces to a puzzle, right? that need to come together to ensure success, not only for persons with autism, but persons in general. Because when they say 70% of kids are no longer playing organized sports after age 13, that's autism, neurotypical, that's a whole lot of people.
Right. That's right. And we got to do what we can to change those stats and those ratios. And we have to get kids not only back into organized sports, but we have to push kids that never thought about sports into sports.
Right. Because there are some persons with autism that play on a D1 level, that play on a university
Yep.
level.
Yep.
Like who?
Cal Bennett and Anthony Ayani, and those guys are record breakers, and those guys are inspirations not only to autism but to everybody alike. That doesn't matter about a diagnosis; you can still push to your greatness. You can still reach beyond your affinity.
So when you're thinking about a D1 University of Michigan player with autism, or a person at Kent State, still D1 with autism playing basketball, both of them playing basketball at a college level, that's something that probably would not have been even imagined, or still not imagined in some areas. And so we've got to get out of that bubble and realize that if you provide the right support in the right environment, in the right social setting, in the right, all those other things, if you can work on those things, and also if you can give those instances where people can practice behind the scenes, right?
Right.
You can practice not necessarily with the team, then they're building their self-efficacy, they're building their confidence, and they're getting over that fear of failure and ready to make a greater impact for them, for themselves, and for others.
You're so right. I totally agree with you.
You totally agree with me? I like that.
Yes, ma'am.
So once again, Marcus, thank you so much for everything. Is there anything else that you'd like to say before we close out? Wait, you know what, Marcus? You're famous. Tell us about like your how we can look you up, and how we can find your music, and how we can find your podcast, and all that other kind of stuff. And then how I can get your autograph.
You give me yours first, but you can find me at Facebook, Marcus Leonardo Boyd, Instagram, autism activist Marcus Boyd, Marcus the interviewer on Instagram. The new website, autism activist marcusboyd.com is on the way. You can find my short film in film festivals, which is about a piece of my story with autism, the boy with no voice.
What's the name of it again? What's the name of it again? You said it too fast.
The boy with no voice.
All right. Okay. Cool. Because I want to make sure people are able to catch that video. But once again, Marcus, I'm just going to say, super excited for all that you have coming ahead of you, all that you're doing, your passion for autism and autism awareness, and autism hope, helping people to see the bigger picture for autism. And I thank you so much for doing this interview right now, because I believe that it will give more people hope.
Well, that's what we're about. We're about giving people hope. We're about killing stereotypes, and we're about pushing the mission forward.
Cool. And about like teaching me how to wicked. You think I could? That's not how you do it.
I got you.
One.
Yeah, I got you. We're gonna work on that.
Well, I'm gonna get something before it's over with. But anyway, once again, Marcus, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for everything you're doing and continue to do.
You're welcome. All right, I'm gonna close this out.